and made every chore feel like a burden. What she wouldn't give at this moment, to be back there shucking corn or snapping beans, even if she was dripping with perspiration. "Anyone left inside?" one of the other robbers asked. "No," Greta said quickly. "Everyone's out." Just then, the stagecoach door inched open. The lanky robber with the uneven eye slits swung his revolver toward the door and clicked the hammer. "No!" Greta threw herself between the robber and the stagecoach, shoving against Astrid's strong push. A short distance away beyond the trees, the mountainside overlooked the sprawling grasslands of South Park, nestled between the Front Range in the east and the Mosquito Range in the west. Their destination was within eyesight. If only it was also within shouting distance so they could call for help. The bandit shifted the barrel's aim to Greta, his arms stiff, his fingers taut. "Woman, unless you want to find yourself eating a bullet, you'd best step aside and let that person out." Inside, Astrid cried out in protest, and once again attempted to open the door. But Greta flattened the full length of her body against it. "Move on out of the way, woman," the robber said, louder and more irritably. "It's her little sister." One of the other passengers moved to stand beside Greta, a middle-aged man who'd introduced himself as Landry Steele yesterday morning when they boarded the stagecoach in Denver. He'd spent the majority of the journey conversing with the other gentlemen. However, during the few brief interactions she'd had with him, he'd always been considerate. "The girl is ill and is of no concern to you." Beneath the brim of Mr. Steele's bowler, he shot Greta an apologetic look, as though realizing she'd wanted to keep Astrid hidden away and out of the conflict. "That's so?" The gunman's revolver didn't waver. "If she's of no concern, then let her on out." Greta pressed against the door harder. She hadn't brought Astrid all this distance to have her die at the hand of a robber. "She's only 8 years old." "I'm 9," came Astrid's indignant voice. "Allow her to come out," Mr. Steele said, with a quiet urgency. "You don't want her to end up an orphan, do you?" Astrid an orphan? Never in Greta's plans had she counted on dying before Astrid. The truth was, Astrid's days were numbered, and Greta hoped to lengthen and make them as pain-free as possible. But she couldn't do that if she let the robber kill her. Swallowing hard, Greta stepped away from the stagecoach. The door flew open with a bang, and Astrid tumbled out. She landed with an oomph onto the grassy road, but then bounded up as nimbly as a barn cat. Though the consumption had emaciated the girl, so that she was thin and petite for her age, somehow she still retained a fresh and vibrant spirit that made up for her physical frailty. Her big silver blue eyes, so much like Greta's, took in the scene. The robbers, their guns, and all the passengers standing motionless with hands in the air. Astrid's hair was also the same color as Greta's, a golden brown, now sun-streaked from so many days of neglecting her bonnet. Astrid had refused to allow Greta to plait her hair when they'd arisen at 4:30 in the morning for a hasty departure from the stagecoach station, and now it hung in tangled waves. Even so, Astrid was the picture of perfection. She had dainty porcelain, but beautiful features that drew attention everywhere she went. Greta had never considered herself to be a beauty, not like some of the other young women back home, and certainly not like Astrid. But too many people to recall during the journey west had exclaimed how much she and Astrid looked alike. The admiring glances and flattery had been strange, but not unwelcome. At times, she wondered if maybe she was prettier than she'd realized, if maybe she'd been hasty in accepting the first mail-order bride proposal that came along. Astrid took several steps in the direction of the closest robber.
"Why are you wearing a sack over you?"